Logan Paul has put out this huge tweet basically saying that he's going to be refunding the victims of the CryptoZoo scam who he scammed last year, except that he's not really doing that because there are so many strings attached, and most likely he's only doing it because he's being sued in a class action lawsuit by a lot of people. Now we're going to look at this tweet and the lawsuit in great depth, but first a 30,000 foot recap on how we got here because the context is very important. A little over 2 years ago, Logan Paul announced on his Impulsive podcast here that he was building a crypto game called CryptoZoo, and this is what he had to say about it.
Using like a project, it's a game.
It's a game. It's a really fun game that makes you money.
So that was basically the pitch. It was a really fun game that makes you money, which kind of sort of gives the idea that it could also be an investment vehicle, but that's something we're not going to worry about right now. But the idea is that you would be able to purchase this token called Zoo Token, and from Zoo Token you'd be able to purchase NFTs, and those NFTs you could kind of combine them and hatch them and combine hatches into new original NFTs, and those would, like, over time generate more Zoo tokens that you could cash out with. Basically, it was pitched as an investment or like a passive income idea. The rarer the combination of NFTs you had, the more money you would make in Zoo Token, which you could then sell for real fiat currency, you know, US dollars or whatever you use. However, as time went on, the project basically went nowhere, and it was not at all delivered in any capacity that it was pitched to be. And so people were putting money into it, trying to get this like passive income and these NFTs and these Zoo tokens, and they were essentially getting nothing out of it. They were borderline scam. They could put a lot of money into it, which drove the price up, but then the price started to come back down, and people were unable to do anything within the game that they were able to, or that they were supposed to be able to, and that caused CoffeeZilla to create one of his largest series that he's ever done, investigating Logan Paul's biggest scam. And that was actually these 3 videos. It was a 3-part series on this Logan Paul scam, because essentially people couldn't, they could put money in, but then they couldn't get the money out. They couldn't actually hatch the NFTs like they were supposed to. The combined NFTs weren't really worth anything, and the whole getting passive Zoo tokens that you could cash for real dollars didn't actually work in game. And then you could also buy it with like other cryptocurrencies, but that would like cause the game to bug out. It was a huge disaster, and basically people were putting tons of money in, and then the price was crashing, so they were losing all that money when they had a reasonable assumption this was a real product, a real game that they could actually use in order to make money eventually. Now, after CoffeeZilla released this huge series, the pressure built for Logan Paul to make a response, and boy howdy did he make a response. After being very upset for a long time and like talking bad about it on his Impulsive podcast, Logan Paul
watched your 3
this infamous video that I'm sure you've seen at this point, where he basically just clowns on CoffeeZilla, calling him, saying he's gonna sue him, calling him a criminal, saying that all of this was done in bad faith, and he's just trying to get some clout from Logan Paul, so on and so forth. That was Logan Paul's initial response. Now, Logan Paul gets absolutely destroyed online for this response because Coffee made a really good video pointing out all of the issues and the bad faith acting that went into what essentially became yet another crypto scam, and Logan Paul's response was to sue CoffeeZilla and claim he was doing it all for clout. This got so bad that Logan Paul actually walked it back in this video that you may have seen, in which he outlines a 3-step plan for getting back the victims of his crypto scam their money, and this is how he says he is going to do it.
And obviously completing the release.
I'm sorry, I watch everything on 2x speed.
So I'd like to announce my 3-step plan moving forward. Step 1, Jeff and I are going to burn our Zoo tokens so we have no financial upside in the game, and it will add value to holder tokens. Step 2, we want to offer a rewards program for players who are disappointed in the status of the game. So essentially you're going to be able to burn your base egg or your base animal for the mint price, which was 0.1 ETH or the equivalent in BNB. I am personally committing 1,000 ETH to this, which is about $1.3 million right now for players who want to get out. And then step 3, obviously finish and deliver the game as outlined in the white paper by
So that's the idea. There's a 3-step process. He's going to burn all of his ETH, which means that there's going to be, he's going to burn all of his NFTs, which means there are fewer NFTs. And so by association, the ones that are left are more valuable. He's going to give refunds to everybody who feels like the game wasn't delivered on, which would actually be everybody. And he's also going to finish the game in order to put it out so that he can complete his project. And this, by and large, seemed like the end of it, except there was one tiny little caveat that not a lot of people knew about. Is that Logan Paul was sued for this. And not only was he sued for this, he was sued by another YouTube lawyer named Attorney Tom. And this is what Attorney Tom has to say about the lawsuit.
After weeks of investigation and speaking to a significant number of CryptoZoo victims, we've taken legal action against CryptoZoo Incorporated, Logan Paul, Daniel Strobel, Jeff Levin, Eddie Ibanez, and Jake Greenbaum, alleging fraud, express breach of contract, implied breach of contract, unjust enrichment, violation of Delaware's prohibited trade practices, negligence, fraudulent misrepresentation, and conspiracy to commit fraud.
Now, this is very important because this is the lawsuit that would ultimately lead to the tweet that we saw in the very beginning where Logan is trying to refund people, essentially trying to make good on his promise really quickly. Now, this was not technically a class action lawsuit. It did, however, become one. This was what was called arbitration. That's because Logan, in his original terms of usage for CryptoZoo, made everybody agree basically not to sue him for anything that might happen in this game. Rather, they have to go through a thing called arbitration, which is not in the court of law and very probably could favor Logan Paul, with the idea being you can't sue me if you have any problems, you have to go through this third party. Now, this Attorney Tom actually found not a loophole, but found out that the original terms and conditions didn't have this, which means that Logan Paul could be sued specifically out of the state of Texas for anyone holding CryptoZoo who lives in the state of Texas. And that's complicated, you don't have to worry about it, but the point is that a class action lawsuit actually did make it through legally, and it was filed by Attorney Tom against Logan Paul, CryptoZoo, and everybody involved. Now, at this point, everything kind of quiets down because Logan Paul has been well exposed, promised to give everything back, but this lawsuit, very notably, is happening very quietly in the background because these things take so much time, there wasn't a whole lot more mentioned about it. Until Logan Paul posts this huge tweet that I'm sure you've probably seen at this point. And this is gigantic, so we're not going to read all of it, but there are 3 main points that happen in this tweet. The first is that he's giving refunds. That's what he says. I'm incredibly to announce that I'm delivering on my promise to buy back base eggs and animal crypto NFTs for their original price. Yay, he's giving refunds. The second thing is he mentions he has filed a lawsuit. He says, with that evidence in mind, talking about CryptoZoo was derailed by bad actors who stole money from me and our team, yada yada. With this evidence in mind, I have filed a lawsuit in federal court to hold these bad actors accountable. So, second important thing out of this tweet is that he's filed a lawsuit. And the third important thing is that as far as the game itself, unfortunately, it will not be released. I have personally spent $400,000, blah, 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 blah. So the third important thing is that game is not being released. Now, we're going to look at all 3 of these very interesting things, but first, we're going to start with the lawsuit because it's the most interesting and also because it's been going on for the longest. As you remember, it's been going on since February 6th of 2023. What we're going to do is we're going to start with this. So, Logan Paul says, with this evidence in mind, I have filed a lawsuit in federal court in Texas to hold these bad actors accountable, referring to the other people on his team that he says scammed him out of money, and then he links to the lawsuit in a Google Drive. But, interestingly enough, if you actually go to this lawsuit and read it, this is what it says. So this is the lawsuit. Don Holland, individually and on behalf of other similar situated plaintiff versus CryptoZoo, a Delaware corporation, Logan Paul, Daniel Strobel, Jeffrey Levin, Eduardo Ibez, Jake Greenbaum, the Crypto King, and then some other people that were involved in the CryptoZoo project. But what you'll notice here is that this guy, Don Holland, is the one that is suing these people, including Logan Paul. This is not a lawsuit filed by Logan Paul against these other bad actors. This is what's called a cross-file of an original case. So, what you read down here is the amendment. And it says, Logan Paul's answer, affirmative defenses, and cross-claim against Eduardo Ibanez and Jake Greenbaum, aka the Crypto King. Basically, what happened here is this guy, by the name of Don Holland, was one of the people that is a part of the class action lawsuit against Logan Paul, which you can see here was filed on February 2nd of 2023, just a few days before this video about it came out. And in this one, as you can see, it is identical. Don Holland individually on behalf of all of their similarly situated, which means all the other people who are in Texas and CryptoZoo holders who lost money on this, filing against all of these people. And what this lawsuit is basically Logan Paul just pointing at the other people that are being sued and says, no, it is actually them that did this. This is called a cross-claim. It is basically the legal version of you standing next to the person that you just committed a crime with, pointing at them and saying, actually, this was their idea, they did it. He's basically trying to push all the legal blame off onto the other people that were involved in this project. And if you come down here and then you get to the what's called nature of action, which is talking about what's happening. As you can see, these are all the nature of action things, and this is him responding. These are not original ones that he's bringing against other people. This is him responding to all of the points in this original lawsuit. So, for example, if we come down, let's find an interesting one. So 9 through 11 he denied, which means 9 through 11 on here he denied. So number 9 is that defendants promoted CryptoZoo Incorporated's products using Mr. Paul's online platforms to consumers unfamiliar with digital currency products, leading to tens of thousands of people purchasing said products. Unbeknownst to customers, the game did not work or never existed, and defendants manipulated the digital cryptocurrency market Zoo tokens for their advantage. And in here, he says denied, like, nope, that didn't happen. I didn't do that, even though we have a lot of evidence that he did do that. The defendants executed a rug pull, which is a colloquial term used to describe a scheme in which an NFT developer solicits funds from prospective NFT purchasers, promising them certain benefits. And he says, nope, that didn't happen. So each one of these is not in its own a nature of action of him, Logan Paul, bringing cases against other people. It's him defending himself from these original nature of action accusations put forward by Attorney Tom on behalf of this Don Holland guy, who, as you can see here, is like a police officer residing in Texas. And if you remember, Texas is the state that he's being sued out of. So it's on behalf of Don Holland and all the other people in Texas who were CryptoZoo token holders are suing Logan Paul. Then Logan Paul is filing a cross file in which he's saying, nah, bro, I didn't do nothing. It was these other people that did everything. And he's going to try and prove in the court of law that it wasn't him that did anything wrong. It was the other people, which is really, by the way, really close to a confession saying, wow, all these terrible, disgusting things happened on a team that I was a part of. But actually, it was this guy, Jake the Crypto King. He's the bad guy here. Now, that's the lawsuit. It's really interesting if you want to read over it. Logan Paul linked this one. This one's super easy to find too, so feel free to look over both of them, see what he's being accused of, and how he defends himself. Basically, he says, I didn't do nothing, sir. Now, the issue with class action lawsuits is there's generally a lot of people that are bringing evidence against, and the more people there are, the more evidence there is, and potentially the more likely it is for that case to be won, because if you have more people coming forward saying that they got scammed or hurt in some way against a company or a person, you're more likely to have evidence that's permitted in court and find you guilty in front of a judge. And so usually having more people in a class action lawsuit is worse for the person that's defending themselves because there's more evidence. And so an outstanding way that you could stop this from happening is, gosh, I don't know, offering people their money back if they pinky promise not to sue you. And that brings us to part 2 of the tweet, which is talking about the refunds themselves. Today, I'm incredibly happy to announce that I'm delivering on my promise to buy back the base eggs animal crypto NFTs from their original purchasing price. This buyback program can be carried out on eggbynftback.com. Claims can be submitted through the site through February 28th. And that, I mean, it's always great when victims are getting their money back, but let's take a look at this website and see what's going on here. Surely there are no strings attached. We're just going to start and we're going to ignore this first part. Yep. Okay. Yeah, no, this is great. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get to this interesting part where it says eligibility. Waivers of claim and release. Listen here. By accepting these terms, you acknowledge and agree that you are waiving any actual or anticipated claims against Logan Paul, as well as any related personal affiliates, agents, partners, employees, service providers, or representations for monetary, equitable relief arising out or in connection with CryptoZoo, including but not limited to this buyback, your purchase of any Zoo tokens, or your purchase of CryptoZoo NFT. You further acknowledge that the buyback does not constitute an admission by Logan Paul or of your legal entitlement to any amount, nor does it constitute an admission of any responsibility in connection with any actual or anticipated claims relating to CryptoZoo. With the most important part being that you acknowledge that you are waiving any actual or anticipated claims against Logan Paul, basically saying you are waiving your right to sue Logan Paul if you want to get your money back. Logan Paul is not being nice here. He's trying to save his butt by getting as many people as he can to take the NFT buyback and as such lose or waive their right to sue him in a court of of law. And most likely his lawyers advised him there's a high chance he loses if all of these people come forward, at least in the state of Texas, and so he's doing his absolute best to try and stop that from happening so there's less evidence against him and he's more likely to win. Now, the final thing about this tweet that we have to talk about is, of course, the game not being released, which he says here, as for the game itself, unfortunately, it will not be released. And that's, I don't think, surprising at all, but it does feel like a huge defense lost on him in behalf of his legal team, because with the game not being launched, that means that it was officially a scam, more or less, because the only reason that people still had some faith that it might not be a scam is because there was still a promise that the game would be launched at some point, and then all the Zoo tokens and the NFTs and everything that they had would start to become valuable again. But with it no longer being launched, that officially means everything they have is completely worthless. And to me, that seems like a huge lost opportunity, because Logan Paul can say, no, it's not a scam yet, because, you know, the game hasn't come out yet. It's still going to come out. But now that the game is officially not coming out, everything retroactively becomes irrefutably true, because there is no game that people bought into. It feels like now, as of the game not being released, all of this is officially and undeniably a scam. So that's where we are with that situation. And if you're interested in Attorney Tom, who's the guy filing the class action lawsuit for Texas Crypto Zoo holders out of the state of Texas, he made a quick update on this, basically saying that he was filing an amended complaint anyway with more specific details, probably some corrected information, and he's advising all of his clients not to take this deal because he thinks he's got a good shot at getting them away more money. So honestly, I'm not sure what's going to happen with all of this. It's going to probably take years because these kind of lawsuits take forever, but whatever happens, I promise to keep you updated. Thanks for watching.